I'm 79 years old. I buried my son when I was 74, and since that day, time has never meant the same thing to me again. It still moves forward. The calendar still flips. People still talk about next year, next month, next week. But for me, time stopped being something that promised anything. It became something that only reminds me of what's already gone. I don't say that with drama. I say it plainly, the way you say something once you've repeated it to yourself enough times that it no longer surprises you. I'm sitting alone as I say this. That's how most of my days are now. Not lonely in a loud way, just quiet. The kind of quiet that settles into your bones. The kind where you hear the refrigerator hum and the clock on the wall tick, and you realize those sounds might outlast you. I'm not telling this story because I need to be heard. I'm telling it because I don't have many stories left to tell, and this one carries the weight of everything I misunderstood when I still thought I had time to misunderstand it. At this age, you think a lot about endings, not in a dramatic way, more like housekeeping. You start noticing how many things you won't replace, how many routines you won't bother updating, how many conversations you won't start because they wouldn't change anything now. When my son died, that awareness sharpened. It was like someone adjusted the focus on a lens I'd been looking through my whole life. Suddenly, the background fell away, and all I could see were the things I missed while I was looking elsewhere. Most mornings I wake before the sun. I don't set an alarm anymore. There's nowhere I need to be. My body just wakes up on its own, stiff and slow, like it's reminding me it's still here. I sit at the kitchen table with a cup of coffee I don't really enjoy anymore. Across from me is an empty chair. I straighten it sometimes, even though no one will sit there. That habit embarrasses me a little, but I still do it. Grief doesn't always show up as tears. Sometimes it's just repetition. Before my son died, time felt like something I could negotiate with. If I didn't get to something today, I could do it tomorrow. If a conversation felt uncomfortable, I could put it off. If work demanded more of me, I could promise myself I'd make it up later. Later became my favkrata word. It was gentle, forgiving, it never argued with me. I had my son when I was 35. By then, I already saw myself as a responsible man. I worked long hours, I was dependable, people trusted me. I thought that was the same thing as being present. I loved my son from the moment I first held him. I don't question that. Love wasn't the problem. Attention was. When he was small, he followed me around the house, asked questions I didn't always have the patience for, tugged at my sleeve when I came home tired from work, wanted me to watch him do things that didn't seem important at the time. I told him, in a minute, more times than I can count. In a minute, after dinner, tomorrow, this weekend. Those phrases felt harmless. They were never said in anger. I said them calmly, confidently, assuming the future would always cooperate. I worked because I believed that was what a good father did. I wanted him to have stability. I wanted him to have opportunities I didn't have. I wanted him to be proud of me. I didn't realize that children don't measure love in outcomes. They measure it in attention. My days back then followed a rhythm. Wake early, work long, come home tired, eat dinner, watch a little television, fall asleep thinking I'd done my duty. On weekends, I fixed things around the house, mowed the lawn, paid bills, caught up on chores. I told myself these things mattered, and they did, in a way, but they weren't what my son was asking for. He wanted me to sit on the floor, to listen, to notice. I didn't ignore him completely. I wasn't cruel. I just believed presence could be postponed. As he grew older, he needed me less, or at least it looked that way. He learned not to interrupt, learned to entertain himself, learned that my attention came with conditions. I didn't see that as a failure at the time. I saw it as him becoming independent. By the time he was a teenager, we spoke mostly about logistics, school, rules, responsibilities. I thought serious conversations were something we'd have when he was older, when he could understand things better. I thought time would deepen us naturally. Instead, it widened the space. He left home and built a life that didn't revolve around me. That's normal, people say, and it is, but normal doesn't mean painless. We talked on the phone now and then, short calls, updates, polite concern. I always assumed there would be time for longer conversations later, when work slowed down, when retirement came. Retirement did come, but it didn't bring closeness with it. By then, habits were set. We didn't know how to talk deeply anymore. We cared about each other, but we didn't practice being open. That skill fades if you don't use it. I don't remember a moment where I realized I was losing him emotionally. It wasn't sudden, it was quiet, like erosion. Missed birthdays because of work trips. Delayed visits because of fatigue. Conversations cut short because it was late. Each choice made sense on its own. None of them felt like betrayal. That's how loss usually starts. Not with a disaster, but with reasonable decisions stacked on top of each other. When he was in his 40s, he seemed tired in a way I didn't recognize. He joked less, laughed softer. I noticed, but I didn't ask enough questions. I didn't want to pry. I didn't want to seem like I was interfering. I told myself he would talk if something was wrong. That's another lie time likes to tell us. The phone call came on a quiet afternoon. Ordinary, unremarkable, I almost didn't answer it. His voice sounded thin, careful. He told me he'd been sick, not recently, for a while. He said it like he was confessing something small. I asked why he hadn't told me sooner. He said he didn't want to worry me. That sentence still echoes in my head. I should have gone to him immediately. I should have dropped everything. Instead, I told him we'd talk more soon, that I'd come visit, that we'd figure it out. I was still negotiating with time. When I finally saw him, the truth was already written on his body. He was smaller, weaker, trying to protect me from the reality I should have faced sooner. We talked, but not about everything. Some things still felt too big, too late. I sat beside his bed and realized how little I knew about his inner life, what kept him awake at night, what he feared, what he hoped I would say. I was his father, but I felt like I was meeting him again for the first time. When he died, there was no grand moment, just a quiet ending, a stillness that settled into the room and stayed there. Burying your child rearranges time completely. Past, present, and future collapse into one heavy moment. After the funeral, people spoke kindly. They said the things people say. I nodded. I thanked them. I went home to a house that felt wrong without him in the world. That's when time changed. Days stopped stretching forward. They folded inward. Every moment felt like something I was surviving rather than moving through. I started counting time differently, not in years, but in absences. How many times I wouldn't hear his voice again? How many holidays would feel hollow? How many conversations would remain unfinished? I thought about all the things I'd saved for later. Apologies, questions, moments of honesty. There is no later once time decides. You're done waiting. What can't be fixed isn't just his death. It's the version of myself that believed responsibility could replace presence. I can't go back and sit on the floor with him. I can't answer the questions he never asked. I can't show him that I finally understand what mattered. That understanding came too late to be useful, but it came anyway. If you're listening to this, I won't tell you what to do. I don't believe in instructions at this stage of life, but I'll tell you what I wish I had known. Time isn't fair. It doesn't announce deadlines. It lets you believe you're in control until you are. Love that isn't expressed regularly becomes harder to express later. Not impossible, but unfamiliar. People don't disappear suddenly. They fade quietly if you let distance grow unchecked. Now my days are slow. I move carefully. I think often. Sometimes I talk to him in my head, not because I expect an answer, but because silence feels hover if I don't. I don't expect peace. I don't chase it anymore. What I have is acceptance. Time didn't heal this loss. It clarified it. And if these words reach someone before clarity arrives too late, then at least this telling wasn't wasted. I don't have much time left, I know that now, and I finally understand what that means. That's all.